to segment 5.3, we will now discuss more about economic value. In our last lecture, we were looking at primarily information and what could be construed as the basis for information that could be protected by trade secrets. Now let's look at how much or what is the economic value that must be provided in order to have, quote, this competitive advantage. So courts look to a number of factors to determine whether or not this information has any value, including, for example, value to business. And so this is value to the business from the point of view of how much, from a monetary point of view, is it to the business to actually have this information. You can look at expert testimonies where experts could go in and actually say, hey, this competitive advantage is allowing this business to, have $1 million advantage over the competitor. With this information, they can come to the conclusion in half the time of the competitor. So you can try to break down how much time is associated with the company with this information as it compared to, for example, a competitor without this information, to kind of get a threshold as far as what really is the value here. So the experts can definitely opine on what the value is. You can look at the cost of developing the information, licensing by others. So if you have licensed this information out, again, kept a secret, but if you license it out for $1 million, that could be used as evidence as far as the value that it is providing to the company. The cost of security. If it's a very highly sought after information and you're having to maintain a lot of costs in order to keep it a secret, that would be one thing they would look at. They would also look at improper acquisition. Whether or not somebody took illegal means, for example, in order to get this information. Now, the value itself must actually be a real economic value. It cannot be just something theoretical that is providing at a competitive advantage. It must be a dollar amount. And so when we talk about economic value, the question is, what dollar amount of an advantage is this information providing to the company? Now, the trade secret does not require absolute secrecy, which actually may shock you a little bit, but it simply must be something that is not generally known. And the relevant group is that which can obtain economic value from its disclosure or use. So let's assume that within the tech industry, you're a semiconductor company, and you have a good method that is better than a lot of your competitors as far as making it more efficient to create a semiconductor type die or something to that effect. And the question is it absolutely secret? Well, it doesn't have to be. It just has to be generally not known to others who would derive economic value from this information. So you'd be looking to competitors of the semiconductor company, in which there are quite a few in the Bay Area, and you would look at these competitors' point of view as to whether or not they were prevented from knowing what it is that this semiconductor company knew. So it must not be readily ascertainable, meaning that they can't just simply go in and figure, oh, it's A plus B equals C, or 1 plus 2 equals 3. It must be something that is really not publicly known. It can be known potentially within the company itself, as long as they took means and measures to prevent the dissemination of that information beyond the company. In short, economic value, just think in your mind, what is the real competitive advantage that it is providing to the company in the form of actual dollars? And that is really what it is that this economic value is looking at.